Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now April 27th of 2022, and that means we're not only getting closer to the Kenobi TV series, but we're also getting very close to Star Wars Celebration, which, by the way, Celebration of 2022 is labeled as the best celebration under Disney's wing yet, and next year is going to be even bigger for, of course, Disney and Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, we are currently in a very exciting time for Star Wars, given that a lot of things are happening between George, John, and Dave getting everything together for the Ahsoka Tano TV series. In case you guys didn't know about this, the Ahsoka series, the sets are currently being built. A lot of things are being done between both Hayden, Christensen, and Rosario Dawson training for their roles as both Anakin and Ahsoka. Basically, the Ahsoka series is going to be a big deal because it is not only the most anticipated show for 2023, but it's also going to take a lot of highlights from the Thrawn trilogy books from the 1990s, Star Wars Rebels, and the Clone Wars, and a lot of aspects of those projects that will be implemented, essentially, into the Ahsoka show. So with that being all done and said, one other thing that a lot of fans have been very curious about is exactly what's been happening with the new Star Wars movies. Now, we already know that Disney has pretty much an entire roadmap of Star Wars movies in the making, either in the early development phase or past that as well. There's a lot of things being done for not just Star Wars TV shows and books and stuff around those lines, but also exactly how Star Wars will be implemented into movie theaters again. So on top of all of this, what's even all the more exciting has a lot to do with the Skywalker bloodline and the overall Skywalker saga. So, of course, on top of all of this, with the Ahsoka Tano series for Disney Plus, beginning, of course, work right now with the Mandalorian Season 4 as well, by, of course, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and how they are actively developing their new Star Wars universe to satisfy fans. It's described, however, that currently CHAPEK recently greenlit many new projects for the Star Wars universe, one of which is the continuation of the Skywalker saga for the Star Wars franchise, starting off with episodes 10, 11, and 12, that will first start off as a book series that will make its way into live-action form, in the form, of course, of movies for the fans. It's described that this has been an ongoing development for the past year and a half, now, of course, that Bob Chapek is trying to create his own legacy by continuing the true Skywalker saga and expanding the bloodline for the fans, by introducing Cade Skywalker that is already set to be portrayed by Garrett Headland. Now, this new edition of Cade Skywalker coming in and being made canon by Disney, starting in 2023, is described to be the biggest move by Chapek yet in order to excite the hardcore fans who loved the Star Wars Legacy comics and more. So let me just stop right here for 1 second. Now, we talked about this lightly before a couple of months ago of how Chapek is moving forward with episodes 10, 11, and 12, and really making the continuation of the Skywalker saga an actual thing, and really making this happen in live-action form. The thing about this, about these new Skywalkers that are coming into existence, is that they are taking a lot of elements from Star Wars Legacy comics, as well as everything that came after the events of Return of the Jedi and Legends. And a lot of that has to do with exactly how they will be changing the idea and the concept of Jaina Solo and making her into Jaina Skywalker, essentially. We talked about this a couple of months ago as well. Now, Chapek is doing this, of course, along with George Lucas and other creators in the background to really make things concrete, that the Skywalker saga will not end exactly in theaters. This was Bob Iger's original idea. When he was the Disney CEO, he himself wanted the Skywalkers to come to an end. He is the one who wanted the Skywalker saga to end once and for all. Chapek is the opposite. He wants that to actually stay in theaters because he knows it's a big selling point. He knows that the episode movies are exactly what fans want to see on the big screen. And at the end of the day, movies like Rogue Squadron and stuff around those lines, let's be honest, they're not going to be as exciting as the episodic films. They're just not going to be. That's the overall truth right there. So, with that being said, however, moving on beyond that point, this decision made under Chapek is that he wants these movies to be made in as little as 5 years from now, starting with episode 10 and eventually ending the saga forever with episode 12. Now, this was George Lucas's original idea anyways, where he viewed the Skywalker saga like a clock of 12. It's described, however, that one of the big additions to that, what was approved by CHAPEK for the continuation of the saga, is that they will be combining elements from the Disney canon and the Star Wars Legacy comics that will be done in live-action form for the new episode movies. Darth Talon is described to be planned as one of the main villains in the Star Wars movies, and that the return of the Sith will still be a focus of ending the Sith once and for all this time around. Now, this is described to be CHAPEK's plan to do the Skywalker saga some good and end things on a more positive note compared to what happened with The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. Well, let's be honest here. Everything that happened with the very end of the sequel trilogy, it left a bad taste in people's mouths. That's the ultimate truth right there. The Skywalker saga and the ending of it all really felt very underwhelming. It felt more like around the lines of, oh, okay, it's over now. It didn't really end on a very legendary moment, per se. You know, it didn't feel as powerful as the original trilogy ending, or even let alone the prequel trilogy ending. It did not feel as embedded in the philosophy of the franchise like George Lucas really embedded for the franchise. So, moving beyond all of that, the new episodes are described to be the darkest in the Skywalker saga films, and that the books are set to be released sometime at the end of 2023 that will get fans familiar with this post-Episode 9 era. Disney is planning to base the films roughly 40 years after the events of Episode 9 to show fans 3 new Skywalkers. These are described to be both Cade and Jaina Skywalker as brother and sister, where Jaina Skywalker is described to be based on Jaina Solo from Legends, and that there will be an addition of Luke's grandson in the series that will also focus on the new Jedi Order and the stories from the new Jedi Order books as well, that will also be implemented into these new films, and that Mark Hamill has been even approached to return as a Force Ghost eventually, again for the fans, if interested. Disney is looking to start production on these films by 2026, and announcing them by next year. So, this is a big deal for CHAPEK, obviously. We went over how CHAPEK is already pre-planning to pick his replacement by 2024. He wants to get out as Disney CEO already for all the drama that's happening with Disney right now. There's a lot of things happening that CHAPEK wants to now leave behind as his legacy on a more positive and good note to kind of look back on. And, you know, when you look at everything related to the franchise, obviously, that's what CHAPEK wants. It's not just about his title as Disney CEO. He also wants to leave a landmark. He wants to leave a footprint in his legacy. And to kind of show that forever, you know, through multiple franchises like Marvel, Star Wars, and other Disney projects out there in general. So, the thing about all of this is that, does it seem like a waste of time to some fans? Maybe yes, maybe not. You know, it all depends on how these movies, when the time comes, are going to be executed, and exactly whether or not they're going to feel very true in a sense to the Star Wars lore, right? Which, let's be honest, if they stick to their word, they do have a shot at all of this. So, like I say, guys, you know, let me know what you think about all of this related to the new Skywalkers and that overall plan by Bob Chapek and others. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.